to cry on if they need it. And it's my hope that one day we will band together and fight crime. I'm kind of ambitious that way.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I really want to thank everyone for giving me a reason to put on makeup and control top pantyhose. That's more than I've gotten in quite some time. So thank you so much. Everyone who's joining, the thing that I do want to share with you that I think is really important when I was talking to the people who planned this is the infertility community is millions across the world. And we can't always agree on everything. We may have political differences. We may have different opinions on whether or not Carol Baskin did, in fact, kill her husband. There's a wide...
Unanimously, she did.
Well, maybe not different opinions on Carol. But the thing that they all wanted to make clear when we did this is today, right now, we are unified in the fact that infertility is a very emotional, difficult, painful, sometimes crazy, like just obscurely odd journey. And so everyone who's joining us, I hope that you share that passion in coming together, even if we do have different feelings and opinions and what have you, to support those that are being diagnosed with this disease. So I love the word, and it was Ruhi who said it, that she cared about unity, and everyone here is coming together to talk about the failure that is the reproductive organs, as I like to say. My reproductive organs were more of an enigma because I was unexplained. But as you are seeing here, these are just an incredible panel of attractive, smart, ballsy, fierce advocates, and they all have better higher college master's degrees than I do. Okay, that being said, let me just do a quick introduction of everybody. Dr. Laura Shaheen, looking fabulous as always, with a pineapple bag behind her. She is a speaker, educator, and fertility advocate through her active social media presence and has authored several books on fertility and miscarriage. I love her. She helped a friend of mine tremendously get diagnosed with something that no one else could diagnose her with. So Dr. Shaheen, all the way. Dr. Natalie Crawford is a reproductive endocrinologist, host of As a Woman podcast. And recently I was in Union Square and she was like a 20-foot billboard wearing the fig scrubs for a fig scrub ad. So she's literally every woman. Like, forget Shaka Khan and Whitney Houston, Dr. Natalie Crawford.
That's awesome.
Dr. Sarita Chen, also an RE, fertility advocate and champion of women's health. She is extremely active in the advocacy community, always the quickest person to respond to my emails or text at odd hours of the night. And I would like to share with you, she throws a mean axe, as I learned at this year's ASRM. Just to be clear, she's more gentle when she does retrievals. Okay, Dr. Ruhi Jalani is a dedicated RE to her patients, committed to helping those with their reproductive concerns, has the best head of hair you've ever seen. I'm very jealous. And if you go to her Instagram account, it's really fun because she is both educational about fertility and very approachable and engaging, but then she's also just sprinkles in some fashion. So while you go to your next, your next monitoring appointment, she'll tell you, slip into a product. Barb Calora, excuse me, can we get a drum roll? Is president and CEO of Resolve, the National Infertility Association. I have never met more of a fierce advocate. And this is what I wrote in my notes. Barb was going to laugh at me. She supports women wearing flats when advocating. I have seen her stage interventions, yes, at Advocacy Day to wear flats. So let's jump in, and I'd love to ask you a question, and that is, in the spirit of the theme, changing the conversation, how do you think we as a community can do that? Let's, if it's okay, start off with Barb.
Oh my God. First of all, love you all. Thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you for inviting me and asking me to join you all. I'm feeling a little wow. The star power is just overwhelming. And Jay, love you. Thank you for hosting tonight as well. So when we think about infertility, which is a disease, it impacts your relationships. It impacts your family relationships, your friends. It impacts your physical health. It impacts your mental health. It impacts your finances, your job. It impacts how you practice your faith and what you think about that. And at Resolve, the system that the infertility patient is part of, not the medical system, but our society, insurance, it's really not equipped to support us. And we oftentimes say this system seems broken to us. And so when we think about changing the conversation, it's about speaking up. It's about talking about our journey. And we believe that that mere act of raising awareness and talking about this, we're actually going to change the system. We're actually going to fix it for all of us. So changing the conversation is, let's talk about this. Let's share, let's raise our voices, and the system is going to change as a result of that. That's what we look at.
Oh God, yeah, I hope so. I would love to change the system, and this is something I'm very passionate about. And again, while if you're watching, you can text Empower You and donate some money to Resolve. Thank you. Visual aid by Barb.
Thank you.
I think you're much more attractive than Vanna White. And so you can help support Resolve, continue to help create access for patients who don't have it. That was definitely me. Dr. Shaheen, how do you think we could change the conversation in infertility?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Barb that bringing it out of the shadows and talking about it will help reduce the shame and guilt that surrounds it. We have to change the narrative from it's so easy to conceive and you spend your whole life contracepting. I mean, in middle school and high school sex ed class, we were terrified that you just like look at someone from the opposite sex and you're going to get pregnant. And then when you're ready to conceive, it's just going to happen easily. And it's devastating when it doesn't happen easily. And it happens to, 1 in 8 couples or, a lot of people, and they just feel that they're so abnormal, but talking about it makes it, people will feel less alone and less stigmatized. And I just really appreciate what every single person here is doing to do that.
Yeah, and you hit on something that's such a good point, because when I was in 5th grade, they taught you how not to get pregnant. And what's so great about this panel is they are very supportive of teaching people their bodies, their reproductive health, even beyond fertility. And that would also be a great way to change the conversation. Dr. Jelani, do you have a suggestion on how to change the conversation?
Yeah, I think even just talking about it, like Laura and like Barb were saying, that this is something that we don't talk about. And personally, just having gone through it, something that I was raised to feel ashamed about. So even just talking about it is just changing the conversation, that it's very common and it's not shameful. I think that's important.
Yeah, agreed. Dr. Chen?
I think it's important for us to remember that while so much change is needed, that our support in the past, that Resolve has a tremendous record. Like we have all seen in this room that we've made a change. Like New Jersey just became the 9th state to mandate egg freezing for cancer patients and transgender patients. And we want, and this message is about inclusivity. So I want to say a shout out to our LGBTQ community and our community that maybe is still advocates, but decided to go child free, and then our adoption community as well, because we want to, that was our mission, is we wanted to include everybody. I think Jay is frozen a little bit. And this is not like her.
I know, it's like she's not saying anything. I'll add that I think since I started on Instagram 4 years ago, there's been a huge change in people willing to share their story and people being able to get support from other sources. And I love seeing not just us as physicians, there's so many more physicians on social media trying to change the conversation and give medical information, but there's so many fertility advocates who are bloggers or who have podcasts or YouTube, and they're really being very vulnerable in the spirit of inspiring others. And the thing that I think needs to happen the most is that women need to realize, and men, everybody needs to realize that in order to change the tide, we can all band together. It really requires getting employers to cover this, to have insurance being covered across the board. That is the only way to level the playing field. But nobody's going to change if you don't force them to, because nobody wants to just go spend more money, neither your employer nor do insurance companies. And so this means that we all have to speak up, even when it's uncomfortable, to make this problem like known, and to be the ones to take time to go and advocate, to go to the Capitol on, advocacy days, to be there and be present. Sharing your stories is a huge part of it. And that's the step one. If people don't know something exists, they're not going to fight for it. But once we've already achieved that goal, we have to get to the next level of trying to make it better for the next person who comes along. Not just say, hey, I got through it this way and it's okay. We have to say, how can it be better for them? If this happens to my daughter, this shouldn't be her story. And so what can we do now to make that different?
And
I have to just say on Resolve, if any of you do, Dr. Crawford just hit on something major. If you go to Resolve, they have a bunch of resources where you can do exactly that and advocate for yourself to either human resources or the decision maker of benefits at your company. And it's brilliant. There's a whole PDF you can download that actually gives conclusive data, letting people know that the HR team know that you actually will save money when you have fertility benefits. You have a more engaged employee. And one of the things that Resolve mentions is when patients do advocate for themselves, more often than not, HR department listens. So Dr. Crawford just so hit the nail on the head in really hitting how you can try to advocate for yourself and make a change, not just for you as an employee, but for other employees.
Hey, Jay, can I just say something? Dr. Crawford just said something about changing it for, the next generation. We see, and Jay, you know this, Serena, you know this, when people have been coming to Washington, D.C. for our advocacy day, over the last few years, more and more of our advocates are saying, I am here because of my kids. If they have to deal with what I had to deal with in 20 years, shame on me. Shame on me for not speaking up and changing the system for my kids so they don't have the same stressors and challenges that I've had. And wow, how powerful is that?
Yeah.
Huge.
I do want to make sure that everyone at home knows that we have some fun, amazing people who took the time to record a video that we can show to you during this event. And these are not just run-of-the-mill people. These are people who really took time in their very busy schedules to advocate on behalf of infertility awareness and education. So I'm going to introduce the first video, and I'm going to probably get her name wrong because that is who I am. It's just, I majored in theater and I know how to tell a joke, but I don't know how to pronounce it. But, and it's terrible, she's an actress, and I even watched the show Prison Break. It's Camille, someone want to finish it for me? We'll do a game.
I think it's Squatty, right?
Squatty, okay. Sounds Italian. If not, you're a paisan now.
I'm Italian.
Yes, so let's take a look at Camille's video. Or keep looking at us while we get ready to take the video. Because I did do a lot of work on this makeup in here.
I think we're connecting.
Yeah, text.
And remember to text 703-646-7272 donate to Resolve, because we're here to raise money to advocate in DC. And I think
even though she's in another planet right now.
That's not Camille.
Serena, are you advocating on that planet? Because you are such an awesome advocate.
You like my planet? I think we're showing a video. Here she is.
Oh, awesome.
Can y'all hear it?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Shoot. Can't hear it.
But this is Camille.
She's so cute.
She
It's
is.
so amazing that she,
This is a really sweet video.
Okay, we got to start over.
and that's just a great example of this community just reaching out
Yeah.
and having somebody share their story. to help others.
It's
just
so
such a good
important. I feel like when messages come from, especially for younger people, it resonates.
We're experiencing.
Yes. Now she looks. Let me just point out. She looks
Guys,
fantastic.
I'm popping up. Guys, we're
Oh,
popping up.
here's Steve.
Her video.
Yes.
She's talking really quietly.
Oh,
It's really-
you're telling us to be quiet.
No, her video is really quiet. So it's like she's soft spoken. She's getting our attention. You guys are live on YouTube on the Resolve page. Just so you know, we are streaming live on YouTube.
Oh,
So
that's
what we
awesome.
do is,
That's awesome. And
we're trying
Camille,
to-
I know, is a Hollywood actress, and she's done all this advocacy work for foster children, and she's gone through IVF. And I know she wanted to tell us a little bit about that, but maybe the video.
We're trying to bump up her volume, but it's so soft we can barely hear it in the video. So I'm going to tell you guys to keep going. We're going to try and see if there's anything.
Okay, thank you,
The
Camille.
other
We're
ones
so
are
grateful to
really
Camille.
loud, but we're going to try and increase her. But
Okay.
when she plays, you guys got to be silent.
Well,
we just for everyone watching at home, Stephen Palter, Dr. Palter,
Dr.
is yes, he's the Bosley to our infertile Charlie's Angels tonight. And he's the founder and CEO of Lodestone Technology. So I really do want to just take a quick moment and thank him so much.
And also a doctor in New York.
Yeah.
The doctor. See, again,
Fertility doctor and a huge advocate for healthcare. Steve has been putting on a lot of seminars to help us deal with the COVID-19 pandemic, not just as fertility professionals, but just as healthcare professionals. And that was kind of our dream. You know, Dr. Jelani came up with this idea and said she wanted to bring everybody together and collaborate and have fun. And then, of course, I thought of Dr. Palter and Lodestone Technology, because that's what he does, is brings people together. So we're happy to have you.
We're so happy to be here with you. The message is so important. We're going to let you stars take the front row.
And you know, we were talking about how good everyone's hair is, but I think Steven's got the right angle on it during the pandemic, because you won't have to really worry about a haircut. And so
There you go.
Slightly jealous. Do we want to maybe show another video, or do you want to try a little longer for Camille?
I think he said
let's go to Samantha. You have Samantha next.
Samantha Bush. I love her.
Yes.
Love.
Yeah.
Samantha, if you're watching, see, I can spell. She is a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur, lifestyle blogger, IVF advocate, philanthropist, and co-owner of Professional Race Team. My God.
She's awesome.
She doesn't do very much.
Is there anything she doesn't do? She even recorded this video. So let's hear from Samantha, who I'm now very jealous
So
of.
we're going to try and bring her up. We just got these video a couple hours ago. We're trying to load it up on the server. We're going to try and share it now. We cranked up the volume, so fingers crossed. We will play Samantha for you now.
Okay. We do. Here we go. Yeah, I was going to say we look like the infertile.
And she's wearing orange.
And she's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
A lot of ups and downs, but to give you a little bit background, around 2013, 2014, like many other couples, we decided that we were ready to have a family. And we tried on our own and it wasn't working. And after a good year, we got to see the OBGYN, because you know the standard, you have to wait a year. And we quickly found out that I had PCOS and I was put on Clomid, but we still had never even tested my husband. So when 5 rounds of Clomid didn't work and we were at wit's end, we went to a fertility clinic, the Reach Clinic in Charlotte, North Carolina. There they confirmed my PCOS diagnosis, but also that Kyle had sperm issues, and that because we each had issues, IVF was going to be our only option. So we were excited to finally have a plan and an answer to why we weren't getting pregnant. And we went ahead and did IVF, and we had our son Brexton the first try, first round, and we were over the moon. It was also at this time, right when he was born, that we decided to start the Bundle of Joy Fund. And what that is we help by giving financial grants to couples through the Reach Clinic who need to go through IVF. We understand how expensive the process is, how frustrating it is that most insurances don't cover it. And so we're trying to do our small part to help a number of couples. And we're very excited that to date, we have 28 babies born and many more on the way this year. Once Brexton was potty trained, we decided that we would love to have a sibling for him, and we started trying for our daughter. So we went back to Reach and did our second frozen embryo transfer, got pregnant, was very excited, and then at 6 weeks we lost her. That was a very rough and hard time. If you'd like to hear more about it or reach out to me, I can connect with you on that, because it was really the power and the sense of community with the infertility community, with strangers that reached out to me, that really helped me to get through all of that. And then we went on to try again a year later, and our third frozen embryo transfer attempt was just a failed cycle. I never even got pregnant. So with that, the doctor said, because I had gone from being pregnant to miscarriage to not even getting pregnant, with the one embryo we have left, they suggested a surrogate. So now we're on the path to finding a surrogate. You have to be your own advocate. Sometimes we're really lucky to get amazing doctors or nurses or midwives who will sit with us for hours, simply a number, and we have 10 minutes and we're in and we're out. And so that's really difficult. And so nowadays there's a lot of at-home testing that you can do to have concrete evidence to bring to your doctor. So for anybody out there who's getting ready to start trying, I think it's really a great idea to know if something's wrong before you even start. Because had Kyle and I have known that, we wouldn't have, essentially wasted 16 months just guessing at why we weren't getting pregnant. Another important thing that I've learned throughout this process is communication, not just with your doctor or your spouse, but with your friends and other people. Dealing with infertility, it's really emotional. And I think a lot of times as women, we want to keep that in, and on the outside, just keep showing everybody that everything's okay. And that's really hard. And so you have to, choose and what you feel comfortable sharing with other people, but being honest with them about where you're at and what you can and cannot give to relationships at that time. Because I think when you're honest with people, it really helps to kind of take away some of that guessing game. Your friend might have gotten pregnant right away and it's hard for you. You need a little bit of time to deal with those emotions, and you're happy for her, but you're also sad for yourself and jealous, and it's really complicated emotions. But telling your friend that instead of just not answering their calls or their texts really makes things a lot easier in the long run. When I went through a miscarriage, I felt like nobody in the world understood me. And when I started publicly talking about it, there were so many women, complete strangers, who reached out to me. And it was by connecting with them via, Instagram messages or emails that I was able to vent and have other people validate my emotions and just walk on this really difficult path with me because they've been there. And so I really think that went, such a big way for me to be able to heal and to be able to just really process what was happening. And I just cannot say thank you enough to the women that have reached out to me all throughout this journey and that have been a support system for me. In the very beginning of all this is we realized that a lot of people were always going to say, well, when are you having a baby? How come you guys don't have kids? And it really caught me off guard. And it would either be awkward, or I'd be frustrated, or I would lie and then be sad. And so we sat down one evening and we decided to come up with a blanket statement that we felt comfortable telling maybe the general public or people we weren't close to versus people that we were gonna, tell more to. But just being on the same page with your husband and coming up with something that you both feel good sharing to other people really helps alleviate some of those awkward or tense situations. I think a lot of times when women go through this journey, it's very easy to feel isolated or alone, or like you're the only person going through it. And I really, really urge you to look at Resolve's website. There's a number of online support groups, or search for a therapist that specializes in infertility or miscarriages or anything else that you're experiencing, because your emotions are real. Your trauma, your grief, everything that you're feeling and going through is real. And it's easy for people who haven't been through it to write it off. So, for example, when I went through a miscarriage, I had a lot of people say to me, well, she was only 6 weeks, you weren't that far along, or well, at least you hadn't met her, or well, at least you can try again. And I really felt like they were just diminishing how big of a traumatic experience this was for me, and it made it so much harder. And so it really took finding support systems and therapists that understood and could help me validate and work through these emotions to start making progress forward.
There's so many amazing, powerful points that she made in that message. I do feel I would be remiss if I didn't mention she looked way more attractive about to getting like an embryo transfer than I did. Did you see that picture? I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God. I mean, so that's that. Sorry, I always go back to how crappy I look doing infertility, but she did raise a good point when you come to, well, she raised a lot of good points, but when it comes to fertility, any phrases that involve just or at least or it's only should just be eliminated, especially when it comes to anything reproductive related, whether it's infertility or secondary infertility or pregnancy loss. I can say as a former patient, the best thing you can do is just just listen to what the person needs. I just want to thank again Samantha Bush for taking the time to make that video. I also got word that we've gotten some donations for Resolve, and that's one of the reasons why we're all here. Exactly. So please, please continue to empower you by empowering others. And if you can, even some pocket change in the sofa, we'll totally take it. While you're texting and donating right now to help the infertility community, we also have a video by Chloe Milas. I hope I said that name right. I actually follow her on Instagram. She is, I want to get this right, journalist currently serving as an entertainment reporter at CNN. I knew she was at CNN, but I was like, do I say journalist or reporter? But they have also been very open on Instagram about their journey. And she spoke recently at the Resolve New England conference as the keynote speaker. And it's just so great when people who are in the public eye share their story, because it does exactly what we were all talking about at the beginning of this, that the more people that join the chorus, the more we can change that conversation, kind of just remove the stigma and hopefully get more access to the treatment that we all need. So I'm going to just call you Bosley, Dr. Palter. But do we have Chloe's video?
Of course we do.
Hey guys, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Chloe Milas. I'm an entertainment reporter for CNN based in New York. I am 33 years old and I have two little boys, Leo and Luke. But the journey to have the family that I always wanted was hard and a lot more difficult than I ever could have expected. I grew up in the South, and so having children young, family and friends, that was common. So, by the time I started thinking about babies at 29 years old, after I'd been married for a year, I just figured that I would get pregnant easily, and this was the perfect time, this was the right time. And my husband, Brian, and I started trying, and it just wasn't happening. And I went through ovulation kit after ovulation kit. I was reading forums and, to the point of nauseum. And I went to my OBGYN after about 6 months of trying, and they said, you really need to wait a year before you get nervous. But something in my gut just told me that something wasn't right. After, testing for me and testing of my husband, we found out that my husband has a low sperm count, but still we weren't sure that was the problem. So we just kept trying naturally. It was about a year in after being at one fertility clinic in New York that I just had this overwhelming sense that I was not with the right doctor for me, that it just wasn't a good fit. And so I did a bunch of research and I came across Weill Cornell and Dr. Reichman. And the moment that my husband and I went and met with him at his office in Manhattan, it just felt right. And it was after some testing of my husband and myself that he called us up and said, you definitely need to go to IVF. And I trusted him, but IVF sounded like the absolute worst case scenario. I felt like I had reached the end of the road and that if IVF didn't work, that I had no other options. Obviously there's adoption and surrogacy and egg donor and sperm donor and all other avenues, but my mind wasn't going there at that point, and I wasn't educated on infertility at all. I mean, I was really just at the beginning of my journey, although I felt so far into it. And so then Brian and I, we just dove headfirst into IVF and the shots, and I had a nurse come to the house, and I definitely was going through all different emotions. I ended up seeing a psychiatrist in the middle of my IVF rounds of shots. And I'm very lucky. I got pregnant with Leo, my 2.5-year-old, on the first round of IVF. After speaking out about my journey and reading more stories and getting to know so many people in the community, I realized how lucky we are. When I wanted to get pregnant a second time, really didn't waste much time. It was after Leo had just turned a year, he was like 14 months. We went back to Dr. Reichman, and my egg count was lower. I have low ovarian egg reserve, and that's when we just felt like we have to go headfirst into IVF. We started doing IVF, and they almost canceled my cycle because they said that I just wasn't responding well to the treatment. But we decided to go ahead. I didn't get many eggs at all. And again, it only takes one. In both cases with Leo and Luke, I only had one really good embryo, and that was Luke. Again, I don't think I could really fully enjoy either of my pregnancies, just given how much angst I went through. But we're so lucky to have treatments and doctors that dedicate their lives. Hi, I'm Jen. One in both cases with Leo and Luke. I only had one really good embryo, and that was Luke. Again, I don't think I could really fully enjoy either of my pregnancies, just given how much angst I went through. But we're so lucky to have treatments and doctors that dedicate their lives to figuring out infertility and giving options and giving hope. And all I can say is just don't give up. Just from the amount of celebrities that I interview for a living, I have spoken to several of them who I admire, like Sarah Jessica Parker and Nicole Kidman, who both had fertility struggles, and they all say the same thing. If you want a family, if you want a child, if you want a baby, you will get one. It might not be the path that you thought you were going to go down to have your family, but if you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out. And I never thought that my road would be like this, but I'm stronger and a more grateful parent because of it.
Powerful.
That was, again, Chloe Melas from CNN. We had an unintentional Kanye Taylor Swift moment there with the video, but that's what makes it exciting. While we are about to cue up the other video, does anyone on the panel have any thoughts about anything that Chloe said, which was very emotional in a way, you could tell.
She pointed out something that is not talked about a lot, just how during the pregnancy and even once you have the baby, the expectation is that it's going to be blissful, like you got what you wanted, and just how nerve-wracking it is, and that emotional journey doesn't just go away once you have a baby in your arms. And I just don't think people talk about that enough. And it was really powerful to hear her say that, how she was so nervous through pregnancy. I hear that a lot. And I think it's so important to pay attention to the emotional piece of this all along the way and listen to that.
Yeah, it's true. I know when I finally got pregnant after 3 years and 3 IVFs, I finally was joining this pregnancy labor group, and all of the other women were fertiles, and the woman running it said, "What's your biggest fear?" And all of them were like, "Oh, medication. I don't want to use any drugs." And I was like, "I'm worried the baby will die." And all of them looked at me like I was the Grim Reaper. But in the infertility community, especially, when you bond with other patients, all the things that can go wrong, and how difficult it was to get pregnant in the first place, that it's really, really difficult to worry about anything else other than I want a baby and I want the baby to be healthy. I don't care what gender it is. I don't care about anything. I worked so hard for this. So it's such an amazing point. I also just really want to thank everyone for commenting. I'm seeing a lot of comments come in. Shout out to Blair, who apparently we all are a big fan of. Blair, I don't know you, but yes. Find me on Instagram.
It's gotta be, she's Fab Fertility.
Oh yeah?
Hey, oh hi.
So the next video, speaking of Instagram, is Jasmine. I'm gonna spell her last name because I don't want her to kill me. It's Katakara. Y'all got that? And she's on Instagram. She's a very engaging, fun, honest voice in the infertility blogger community. And her Instagram account is Jazz Catass. And she made a video for us that we can watch, which I'm really excited to see, actually. I've only read her stuff. I've never heard her voice.
Can't hear it, Stephen.
What advice? Hi,
Oh, there
my
we
name
go.
is Catherine, and I'm here to answer your questions. Fertility treatment is. So question number one. Fertility treatment is just one solution to your possible obstacles in life. What advice do you have for someone on their fertility journey? One thing that I advise for someone on their fertility journey is to slow down and really become self-aware of themselves and what their values are before they go into the whole craziness of the, the technical, the meds, the medical stuff, or you can get lost really easily. And the worst part is you might lose yourself. And I think it's really important to slow down, focus on yourself, focus on what will make you happy, regardless of a baby or not. And then use that as your compass in life to guide you during this crazy journey of, it could be anxiety and loss and everything that goes into fertility. So that would be the main thing I would advise someone going through this. Slow down and focus on yourself first. Find your values. Okay. One word that describes an infertility warrior. Fortitude. Hashtag empower you.
Absolutely.
That was adorable.
How are you?
Thank you so much for making that video. It was really, it was so exciting to hear her talk. Real quick, I just want to let you know, if you are having any trouble texting to donate, please know you can also go to resolve.org if you'd like to donate there. Dr. Jelani, I wanted to know, while we were queuing up the next video, which is by a really fun group called the Infertile Mafia. Sounds like a rap band. What gave you the idea to create this event tonight? What was kind of the inspiring thought?
It's really funny, actually. And then you're going to start wondering what I do in my spare time. I was sleeping, and I think it's from just Zooming all day long with patients and meetings from morning to night. And in my sleep, and I'm going to date myself, but do you guys remember telethons way back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I had a vision. We were doing a Zoomathon to raise money for Resolve. And we had all these celebrities coming in and out, sharing their story. And Barb was, like going, yay, $1,000. I was like, oh my God, we should do this. So we got our Instagram girls together and we said, what can we do? Yeah. And here it is.
Well, I'm relieved we did this and not a We Are the World musical. I don't know how we all are at singing, and I don't want to find out. So this next video, thank you so much, by the way, again, for all of you for being a part of.
Aren't you a little worried though that you were in her dream? Like, I'm a little worried.
I hope I was.
Gonna say, I'm like, don't judge me. Don't judge me.
I want to be in everyone's dreams. I'm thrilled. The Infertile Mafia made a very special video, and I'm Italian, so anytime there's mafia in any title, I'm there. So they are fabulous. You can also follow them online on Instagram. They have a great sense of humor, and definitely we never want to make light of how painful infertility can be. But I'm a big believer when you can kind of laugh at it, you take away some of its power. So I really want to thank Infertile Mafia for what they do, and I'm looking forward to seeing their video as well.
That's Kayla.
That's Sarah. We're like together.
Yeah, and we are the hosts of the Infertile Mafia podcast.
We're quarantined together virtually, not really.
Oh, my hands falling off.
You're wearing our Infertile Mafia t-shirt, I see.
Yes.
And I like that. I was just thinking to myself, because I'm practically naked from the waist down because this is quarantine time. Feels very much like you're at the RE.
Oh, you're not wearing pants? I'm
Nope.
at least wearing shorts. We're making this video for National Infertility Awareness Week.
Hold on, right? I gotta crack one open for you. I've been drinking a lot of these in quarantine. We're just talking about how you can't say happy National Infertility Awareness Week. You can't say let's celebrate. You can crack one open though. Cheers.
Cheers.
Congratulations, you're infertile. You cry and then you yell a giant oh. And honestly, if you get an infertility diagnosis during coronavirus, it's a double. And you might start trying some weird stuff. I have fingered myself more times than I would like to admit.
And you just said it on the internet.
Cervix checks.
Yeah,
right?
Seeing where it's located and what it's doing. Like, is it pointing north? Is it pointing to the east?
Here was my thing. I'd get up in there and then I'd be like, I don't know what I'm feeling.
Well, you're supposed to see if it feels like a nose or lips. I think nose is not fertile. Lips are fertile. Do you ever find yourself looking at egg whites? You're like, is this it? That's what it's supposed to look like.
We're nothing if not honest.
That's true. Maybe too honest sometimes.
Triggers. Once you're trying to conceive, you're going to want to watch out for things like the at least crowd. At least you can still sleep in.
At least you can drink. At least you still have a good body.
You also get the have you tried crowd. The people that are like, well, so-and-so worked for my sister's cousin's brother's wife.
Say, have you tried going on vacation?
Have you tried getting drunk one night and sleeping together? Yes, Karen, I have. I have. Baby showers, that's going to be a real hot trigger. Silver lining to quarantine. You don't have to go to any baby showers. We'll take the win when we can get it.
I do like cupcakes though.
The first thing I think that starts to annoy you is people, whether they know you or not, they're inappropriate questions. Do you have kids? When are you having kids? Do you want kids? How many kids do you want?
Or they ask, do you have kids? And then you're like, no. And they're like, why? That's a weird thing to say to someone.
Once people know that you're trying to conceive, then the questions get even more intrusive.
Well, have you tried standing on your head after doing it?
Are you doing it right?
Did you get the right pole?
I think the one that annoys people the most is the just relax. You should just relax. Telling a person to relax will magically make her endometriosis go away or cure her PCOS. Sarah, if you would have just relaxed, you could have grown fallopian tubes.
Oh, why did I think of that?
Could have saved yourself so much money. Honestly, an infertility diagnosis really isn't all bad.
No.
I mean, I laugh uncomfortably as I say it because yes, it's awful and it sucks, but at the same time,
we've got friends. We've got pineapples.
This community is
so loyal and resilient and strong and supportive. And I just really treasure all the friends that I've made in this community. One of the best things that like infertility taught me was to be my best advocate, like really sit in the driver's seat of my life.
My advice is to know what you're in for and be informed on things so you can make decisions.
Share what you want, when you want, how you want, with who you want.
Okay. I like that because I feel like people probably are feeling pressured this week to tell their like health stuff publicly, but you don't have to.
No.
Just because you don't tell anyone doesn't mean that you're doing a disservice. That's what HIPAA's for.
Sarah, it was so nice to be with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you guys for joining us.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Oh my gosh.
That was impressive. I actually thought they were together at first.
Right, that looked good.
I totally bought it.
Yeah, we do that.
I don't know if we can possibly try again to see Camille's video. So Bosley, let me know if we should give it another shot.
You can bring her up, but the volume is really low on it, so we'll have to be super quiet.
Mute.
Mute.
Yeah,
everyone mute.
So, but
except Stephen.
We can't get it any louder, so we'll do the best we can with it. I'm going to bring her up and play it now.
Okay, great.
And just give us 1 second, but it is certainly a quiet video. So let me just.
All right, so everyone lean in. Just lean in so we can hear. Oh, wow.
Women out there to know that IVF is a blessing. It allows us to have assurance for our future if we are young or not married yet or don't even have a boyfriend for that matter. It also, for me, it gave me hope when there was no hope. It allowed me to carry my baby, which I never would have been able to do if it weren't for infertility treatments. I was able to experience that side of motherhood, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
That was beautiful. I'm sorry that we couldn't quite hear as well as we wanted to, but I was thinking of see, now I swear I'm not this old, but there was a famous actress named Gloria Swanson who was famous for silent pictures. And I was thinking that Camille would be amazing at silent pictures because you could see, the emotion in her face sharing her story. And when we could actually hear more of it, it's just so comforting, like what we were saying, that you hear it all the time. You're not alone. You're not alone. Because you are alone in doctors' offices and maybe when you're really at your most vulnerable. But if there's anything that I hope National Infertility Awareness Week accomplishes, is it's easy to say those words, but if you are able to reach out, to truly reach out and be a little vulnerable and share your story, the amount of love and support, again, going back to the beginning of what we were saying, that you'll receive from the community. It does not matter how much money you make, who you voted for, how old you are, none of that. You have this common bond of knowing what it's like to be diagnosed with infertility and to not know how your story is going to end. And so I do want to encourage everyone, as someone who did go through infertility and was very embarrassed to even talk to anyone about it. I was Roman Catholic and Italian, so I thought I should have had like 20 kids by the time I was even trying. So again, these people here on the panel, these celebrities who have come tonight and shared these videos, they are really trying to impress upon you, if you can find just a little strength to be like, yes, I have infertility issues. You've got people who have totally got your back, who'll be your ride or die chick. And there's a whole community ready, waiting here to support you. As we start to wind down the evening, I do want to just again take a moment to say thank you to Steve and everyone at Lodestone Technology. Don't you love how I'm calling Steve and he's a doctor? It's like we're dating. I'm sorry. Dr. Poulter, thank you so much for helping with all the technical stuff in making this happen. He's been a tremendous help. Again, we are still in the middle of National Infertility Awareness Week, and we are still hoping to help people who aren't able to either get the financial support, the education, the resources that they need. So even if you donate $5 to Resolve, it will absolutely help, because Resolve is amazing because they're not a huge group. I always laugh online when they're like, what are the people at Resolve doing? It's like a small group of kick-ass women that each do about 20 things, and what they accomplish is amazing, but they can't completely do it without the support of people, whether it's clinics or companies, or even people who maybe do have a little bit of extra pocket change to send Resolve's way. And again, if you can't do it via text, you can absolutely go to their site. They have several links that they've been sharing tonight that you can go to. But as we are closing things out, I would like to ask each member of the panel, since NIAW ends on Saturday, although for many it's year-round, 24/7. But Dr. Crawford, I'll start with you. What have you found the most inspiring about this NIAW, which has been an exceptional one, to say the least?
Yes, I think for sure this NIAW is a standalone crazy time where I'm talking to patients every day whose fertility journeys are on hold or they're full of a lot of uncertainty. And even the patients who are early pregnant are scared about what this future looks like right now. There is no normalcy in our current world, and we don't really know when it's going to be. But seeing the resilience and the bravery of our patients to know that they're going to keep on going has just really, really inspired me to keep working harder and doing better. And you know, I'm not in office. I'm seeing every patient from like right here in my bedroom. And I feel like I'm working harder than ever, just trying to connect and virtually give hugs and make them know that this is going to be okay. I'm as committed as they are to getting their family to happen. We just have to stick together. And before you go to everybody else, I want to say that we have a huge collaboration video of over 80 people who have come together to support Resolve. They are talking about this fertility community and uniting together. And I put the link in the comments, but it's on Resolve's YouTube. And as soon as this is over, watch it, but have tissues ready.
And you know, on that note, and then I do want to hear from more from the panel. And Dr. Crawford, you were the best person to actually mention that, because what you guys may not know at home that I am shockingly privy to is like Dr. Crawford, Dr. Jelani, like all of these doctors, everyone that you're seeing right now have been seeing patients, telehealth appointments up the wazoo, if that's an actual word. And at the same time, like editing this video for the infertility community to, again, know that they're not alone. And so I don't know when they sleep, but they put together this amazing video. And again, we're going to share the link in the comments, or I'm sorry, the link is already shared in the comments. But yeah, I just had to take a moment and thank you guys for doing all that. I wouldn't even begin to know where to do that. Dr. Chen, what have you seen in NIAW this week that you have been touched by or inspired by?
Well, I'm inspired by everybody here. You know, this panel, Dr. Poulter, Lodestone Technology, Resolve. We really, this was Dr. Jelani's dream, literally, that to bring people together, to have a fun event and to raise money. And that's been amazing. And I've seen it in my patients too, that even though they've been asked to pause something so painful, they've all been so amazing and so supportive, and just saying things like, thank you, Dr. Chen, for figuring out how to do a video conference. And we understand we want to be safe. And my patients are, they're reading about coronavirus. They're trying to be safe, but also trying to be proactive. And we are all learning a completely new way of life, all of us. And I've just seen people really step up to the plate, and that's amazing. And I do think this virtual world, telehealth, will change healthcare for the better for all of us. And we definitely, this is what Resolve does. This is what we want to do, is break down barriers to care. And we think, video conferencing is a great thing. So we're excited about that.
Dr. Shaheen, anything that you've been inspired by this week?
I love building on Natalie's point of resilience. We're all dealing with so much uncertainty about what tomorrow will bring, and everybody has been affected by this pandemic. And the way that I get through it is to think about how we can rebuild after this. And the example and just seeing the community come together and support each other, whether it's texting questions to each other in the middle of the night, whether it's, this event that these amazing women have put together, whether it's, every single day there's a webinar within the community. How can we help our patients? How can we help each other get back to providing fertility care in a safe way? We all, there's been a little bit of uncertainty and some really difficult conversations, but at the end of the day, we all support each other and we all want the same thing. We all want to help our patients, and it's a really, really, it's a tough time, but there's been so much support and there's been so much beauty that has come out of this.
Dr. Jelani, since I love that your dream has come true, I hope in my dream I was there. But what have you been inspired by during NIAW?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Jane. Thank you, everybody, for helping my dream come true. But truly, it's stuff like this, just the amount of unity and passion, and to echo everybody here, just the resilience and strength that I've seen this week alone has just been amazing. People going on webinars, patients willing to do web consults. And I was actually telling one of my patients today, like, I'm sorry I can't hug you in such a tough time, but just being able to connect in ways that we haven't done before has been really empowering.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of had to, not that we were off our game then, but we sort of had to up our game and get creative about new ways to support people. I intentionally left Barb to last, but I do want to say really quick about Barb. There's my favorite memory of her is she and I were in the hallway of the Capitol, and I don't know, I must have looked tired and just like, dear God, like, for crying out loud. And Barb like looked at me, and she had been like running around like a crazy woman in class. And she still was, energetic at this hour. And I was about to drop dead. And she was, Jay, tell me you're coming back next year to advocate. Are you coming back? And I'm like, yes, I'm coming back. And I love that story. And it's what I think of whenever I think of Barb. And it's because I cannot overstate this. She truly is committed, whether you see it or not, whether you know it or not. I promise you, I don't lie. She is constantly advocating in ways that I don't think people realize. She is so passionate and committed to looking out for patients and doing it in her way, which is always just so well thought out and brilliant. And if you ever wanted to look at the meaning of persistence in like a very positive way, not confrontational, not argumentative, but she's more like, all right, we're going to get in there. We're going to make this happen. And she does it with such a tremendous attitude that's why I think that's my kind of snapshot in my mind when I think of Barb. She truly, truly is always fighting for the patient, whether you know it or not. She has got the community's back. Now, on that note, and I have not been paid to say that, trust me, Barb, what have you been inspired by during National Infertility Awareness Week?
Well, I've been inspired by all of you. First of all, Jay, thank you so much. I want to make sure that people understand that Resolve is not me. Resolve has been around for 40 years. We have an amazing board. We have an amazing staff. We have amazing partners and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. So this is not the Barb Show. I'm honored to be here for a part of Resolve's history along with my amazing colleagues. But it's all of you that inspire us. You know, this week we have seen people being, you all have said it, resilient, empowered, coming together. What we want to see next is the power of that community and where we can take this. So what's the amazing sweet lemonade that we can take from really the situation that we're in now, and how can we come out stronger, better, more powerful as a community with really one voice and changing the story, changing the system for people. We can make it happen. And I want to thank all of you in all those little squares for your part, very, very large part in what you've done this week. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Dr. Poulter. And we love you all.
Yeah, and again, you make a good point, and trust me, everyone that works for Resolve has texted me tonight. There is, like I said, a fierce team of women who are working really hard to support Resolve, to support Barb, to support the infertility community. And so thank you so much to Resolve. I do, as we wrap up, because we're pretty much out of time, I do want to throw it back to Dr. Jelani, because if anyone deserves the last word, it should be her, since she really did, help kick this evening off. But as I, shut up, I do want to say again, thank you so much for watching this, for being a part of what we're trying to do and change the conversation. All of the people you see can be found online. I would love to hear from everyone. Everyone would love to hear from everyone. We have to stick together and really show that resiliency now more than ever. So Dr. Jelani, it's all you, my friend.
Thank you all for being here, and thank you everybody. Couldn't echo what Barb said more. For everybody in those little squares, Steve especially, thank you for all those late night conversations and putting everything together. That lodestone technology, that means the world. And then Dr. Crawford will take over and share the link to the YouTube, Dr. Crawford, and say a little bit about what that video is before we move.
So again, if you're, I put it back in the comments, you can just like copy and paste it, or if you're on the YouTube site, it's up and live. It is a compilation where we ask members of the fertility community, both advocates and physicians and patients, to share a little bit about what the community means to them and what infertility is like and what it means. And really, it is just an empowering video of this community coming together to support each other during probably the hardest NIAW that there's ever been. We want to encourage everybody to support and donate to Resolve if you can. Every little bit adds up and helps us advocate and helps us make change. Little steps together all make really, really big differences. But please, after we're going to get off, and go to that video and watch it, and we'll all be commenting in the comments right now.
Bosley, do you want to say any final words?
Yeah, I think Steve wants to.
Dr. Poulter.
So what we're going to do is, before we're streaming live on YouTube, what this is going to do is there's been a classy website set up for Resolve to donate. So just before you go watch the YouTube video, this is going to redirect as we're done to that. We want everyone to stop there on the way to YouTube for Resolve. And on behalf of my team, we just want to thank you guys for putting this together. You're the stars here. Everyone's seen their patients. This has been an unprecedented time. I mean, I'm in New York in the heart of it, and we've been doing what we can. And on behalf of Lodestone, you're all stars. And what we do is we create large interactive events to help solve problems. We've had over 8,000 doctors tackling this, including every one of you on the panel here. And we believe that the community is the answer. And so that's what all of you are doing, is bringing the community together to empower each other. We do that with physicians and patients. And you are the most important part of the conversation. It's not one way anymore. It's everyone together solving the problems. So it's our pleasure to donate our services to help you with this tonight. Thank you to my whole team who's with you. And we'll bring it back to the stars to do their part.
So thank you again, everyone, for joining. I really do want to thank again everyone who made the videos, Chloe, Camille, Jasmine, Infertile Mafia. Am I forgetting anybody? Samantha. Oh my God, Samantha. How can I forget? She's probably racing a car right now. Again, please feel free to reach out. Let's stick together as much as we can. And again, we're looking forward to you seeing the video. Thanks again, everybody. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, and stick
Thank
around.
you.
I think that
Bye.
Blessings
Yeah,
is
stick
coming up for next. There we go.
So we're going to end it because it's not going to redirect until we all leave the room. So we're going to say, good night, everyone.
Good night.